Good morning, Unity. I have the privilege and honor to introduce to you today our graduate speaker. 4 years of high school represents a whole lifetime of learning. Tijara, or as we like to call her, TJ, walked into high school her freshman year and immediately took charge. She was elected her freshman class president. Her list of accomplishments is incredible and impressive. This year, she received the highest regional award possible in Jack and Jill, the Carol Robertson Award, a culmination of her community service, academic, and Jack and Jill volunteer participation. In 2017, she earned the Girl Scout Gold Award, the highest award possible in Girl Scouts. Her Gold Award was so innovative that the local Girl Scouts Council selected her project to compete nationally as a Woman of Distinction candidate. Her project, Break Free, No Stigma Can Hold Me, focused on the 3 key skills young ladies should master to be successful in life: self-love, self-defense, and self-advocacy for middle and high school girls. Tijara has been honored with the National Community Service Award, Bronze and Silver, 4 years in a row from President Barack Obama, given to individuals for their level of community involvement. She is graduating from high school with a 3.87 GPA. And as an international baccalaureate candidate. For all of her accomplishments, we at Unity remember when she was a twinkle in her parents' eye. She has a big brother, Tunde, myself, and a little sister, Tolani. She has attended every level of children's school at Unity, starting in the nursery at 1 year old, then toddlers to Rainbow Pack, to Uniteens, and now Y.O.U. I would like to think I set a pretty high bar for success in this family. And yet, despite all the praise I received for my achievements, Tijara has quietly and humbly surpassed them all. Immaculate grade point average throughout high school, frequent world traveler even to Morocco, and getting accepted to the #1 HBCU, Spelman College. Tijara has embodied what it means to live in your own truth. Refusing to live in anyone's shadow, she continues to raise the bar, never allowing any obstacles to get in the way of achieving her goals. And now is the time we've all been waiting for, where she'll shed some light on how she's been able to be such a powerful light, exemplifying the truths Unity has taught her. Family and friends, I would now like to welcome to the podium an advocate for women's rights, the world traveler, the light bearer, the scholar, my sister, and now our graduate speaker, Tijara May Smith. Only right here.
Good morning, Unity.
Good morning.
I have struggled with how I should be delivering this speech today. I felt that I needed to be in competition with all of the other speeches before me in order to give you something worth listening to. Remember Veronica and her poems, my brother Tunde and his Beats headphones, and Soraya's lifelong dream to study in New York City. I felt I had some pretty big shoes to fill, especially knowing that I was the only grad delivering the speech. But I realized that I only need to give you my truth. Does anybody remember the movie The Great Debaters with Denzel Washington? In the movie, Denzel Washington is a faculty coach for a world-class debate team. In one of the scenes, Denzel is doing a call and response exercise with the students about who their competition is. He has them declare that God is the judge because he decides who wins and who loses, and their opponent doesn't exist because he is a mere descending voice of the truth that they speak. So whenever I felt nervous about an upcoming event, I would affirm this to myself. Who is the judge? The judge is God. And why is he God? because he decides who wins and who loses, not my opponent. And who is your opponent? He doesn't exist. And why doesn't he exist? Because he is a mere descending voice of the truth that I speak. And it worked for me. In high school, as I decided to run for freshman president, my belief in God's power helped me feel confident in my capabilities and diminish feelings of competition. I attend Benjamin Banneker Academic High School, a high-achieving school in DC. Banneker has always been a very competitive school, and knowing that my only judge was God helped me make sure that I stayed in my own lane and could maintain a good academic standing. And when the time came for me to get into the International Baccalaureate program, the stress that impacted my peers didn't seem to touch me. Even outside of school, this affirmation helped me prosper. Who is the judge? The judge is God. When it came for my Gold Award in Girl Scouts, it seemed that having God by my side was the only plausible reason that I could complete it in only a couple of months. And when my mentor continuously rejected my ideas, I maintained a strong belief in God and his power to make sure everything would work in the end. And it did. And why is he God? Because he decides who wins and who loses, not my opponent. I've been in Jack and Jill since first grade, and in high school, I decided to run for the position of Regional Teen Secretary. I ran against 8 other teens, all from different Jack and Jill chapters over the Eastern region, and I won. And who is your opponent? He doesn't exist. I had recognized the advantage of knowing that I only had to answer to God, and the power of being connected to God through unity. When it came time to apply for college, I declared in this church that I will be going to the Spelman College, and everyone declared it with me. So on December 26, 2017, as I arrived home from the airport after visiting my grandmother for Christmas, the blue envelope that my mother was waving and screaming about didn't come as a surprise to me. And he doesn't exist, because he is a mere descending voice of the truth that I speak. The affirmation from the great debaters helped me establish a connection with God by eliminating the doubt that my opponent would cause. But when I start to include doubt into my truth, my opponent starts to take form. For everyone, your opponent will look different. Mine happens to look like a girl I really hate. She's younger than me, much younger. She's short and very skinny. She doesn't stand up for herself, and she's very sensitive. The slightest comments make her cry. And despite being in ballet for years, she hadn't adopted any of the characteristics of being flexible, graceful, and pretty. But she did learn to smile big, and the gap between her teeth is the first thing that you saw. I wish I could ignore her, but every time I look in the mirror, I see her. In Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, the Lord says, "Know I have plans for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." But that little girl makes me doubt that. She showed up after I got into Spelman, and I hated that. She made me feel like I was unworthy of my acceptance, and all she brought was harm. In school, I began to feel unworthy as well. A 14-page paper that I had put a lot of effort into, I was told I needed to rewrite, and I was given no guidance. In school, I began to feel unworthy as well. I started to fall behind in my classwork and mentally check out of school. I also started to distance myself from my friends and from my God. The only company I kept was a little girl I hated so much. I stopped trying to push her away, and I started to seek comfort in her presence. I felt like I had lost control of my life, and while I lost sleep, I allowed her to grow and prosper. And when I look at the world through her eyes, I have no blessings and no accomplishments. I only have her by my side telling me that nothing matters. But like the Lord has said, he does not have it in his plans to harm me, so I eventually found my way back to Y.O.U. Y.O.U has been a safe place for me, where I know that I can share what is going on in my life and not feel ashamed. It has also been a place where I have learned so much about myself, and I have had the chance to exercise self-love a lot. Miss Sharon has been a trustworthy adult that I have felt comfortable going to with my questions and insecurities, as well as someone who entertains my ego. Reverend Sylvia has made me feel honored as an individual, that I didn't need to compare myself to others because she recognized me for who I was and what I was capable of. Miss Betty always laughs at my jokes. Miss Karen always reminds my parents to love me unconditionally. And Miss Sandra, Dr. Sandra, always hugs me, and her deep hugs clear even the grayest of skies. When I started to reconnect with my support at Unity, I felt my connection with God strengthen, and with that, so did I. In Psalm chapter 139, verses 13 to 14, it says, "I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, my soul knows it very well." I connect with this when I am at my best, when I received my Gold Award, served as the Regional Teen Secretary, and when I was accepted into Spelman. But that isn't enough. To be fearfully and wonderfully made pertains to every part of me, even the ones I hate. That little girl is part of my soul. She represents the worst thoughts of myself, but I realize that I have to stop treating her that way. It helps knowing that I'm not the only one. When you look in the mirror, who do you see? Do they look like the person you are, or were, or wish you were? Do they say anything to you, or is all the strength in their stare? When I look in the mirror, I don't always like who I see, but I promise that every time I see that little girl in the mirror, I'm going to tell her I love her. I know saying I love you seems simple, but at Unity, I've learned about the power of love, especially self-love. So I'm going to say I love you over and over again, even when I don't think I deserve it. And I'm going to regain the strength and power I allowed her to take from me in the first place. Whoever your little girl is, be the person she needs. I'm going to try it. You should too. If Denzel was the mastermind behind the world-class debating team, I don't have Denzel. I have two better. My parents are my coaches. Their ability to be Their ability to be open with me about their fears and shortcomings has helped me accept that I don't need to be perfect all the time. My dad is a great, free therapist and prayer partner. My mom is the global leader of my hype team. And I have no doubt that being under their roof for 18 years has set me up for greatness. That being said, I'm happy to announce that I'll only be around for a couple more Sundays. I have been chosen to participate as a Google Computer Science Summer Institute Scholar. And when I come back at the end of the summer, I will be on my way to Spelman. In Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, the Lord says, "Know I have plans for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." I am success-bound, and I know this not only because God proclaimed this, but because of the love I have felt through Unity. This support I have been shown through this community has helped me understand that should I fall, I have hundreds of hands making sure that I am able to get right back up. Namaste. I love you, and thank you.
Isn't she wonderful? I'm always so proud of our young people. It gives me hope for our future. And we need hope for the future. And we need to know that there are loving souls who will go forth into the world and take their place and do great and wonderful things. And so we have nothing but the best for you. We see that you will truly go forth and do what is yours to do, whatever that is. It's between you and God. But I know that it'll be a wonderful path and a wonderful journey. I know that you'll do great things for our world. And just being yourself is always good enough. It's always good enough. So we have a wonderful, just a little gift for you to help you as you move into Spelman. You can do whatever you need to do with it, but know that we send you with our blessings for nothing but the best. The best is yet to be. So let's just love and honor. This is Tijara Smith. You did great. Wonderful. Okay.